As you think about distribution, staying fan first, but recognizing that you sort of, you're all global, you all have global reach, but you might approach markets differently, either because of relationships you have in those markets or because you feel like the experience is actually meant to be different for different regional fans. How do you think about that sort of global strategy versus a regional strategy? And be very curious to understand where you think the real differences for each of your sports and your products are most prevalent. Jared, do you want to?
Sure. Yeah. I think that it's an interesting time where there's a lot of choices on how to distribute content, and so we spend a lot of time looking at it both from either the market or the channel's perspective, and saying what content do we think will work well in that particular market or channel, and then we also look at it from the other side where we produce, every time we produce content, we say what's the best way to distribute this content or some form of this content, and and so I think that we've done a good job of getting global reach, and I think that there's more we can do in localizing that experience in particular markets, and so that's a big push for us, and we have people on the ground in our key markets to get a sense of what works well there and what doesn't, so then we can tailor a strategy to that, and we think that's going to be a big growth avenue for us in the near future.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar challenges. Brazil is one of our largest markets. The programmatic space there is nascent, is not as robust and mature as it is here in the States. So that creates some nuance in the way that we look at the opportunities down there from an advertiser perspective. That shapes, the nature of our relationship with our broadcast partners in each of the different markets. I represent a bias in that I manage the direct channel, so I always run on the assumption that our core fans on our own platform are going to represent the biggest opportunity for us to tell a good story, and to that end, I try to treat the broadcast team as our user as well, and try to kind of provide as much value as we can to them. By leveraging that core audience on our platform. If that leads to the broadcast being distributed via a linear partner in a territory that is more nuanced, we just see that as a value add to them, and see it as an opportunity to potentially even present ways in which they can participate in that interactivity or data sharing as part of that larger deal in those markets. But at the same time, it's always changing. So every time renewals come up, we're revising the strategy and kind of redrawing the map.
So I'm an ad guy, so I'm not going to act up here like I know what our global distribution policy is and things like that. But I can tell you that NASCAR.com and our direct owned and operated properties are generally U.S. based audience. So. But one thing we did announce from a distribution perspective, we announced recently that we have a partnership with NBC Sports for NBC Sports Gold Track Pass. So we're going to be offering NASCAR qualifying, like NASCAR Cup qualifying and practices, along with our grassroots series, K&N, Wheel-In, and a few others. So really hard-nosed racing that I think our larger audience is going to be able to see. And when it comes to adding IMSA content, especially through NBC Sports, I think it's really going to help grow our global audience.